Thanks guys for sending in all of your questions. We're here now to answer them. I'm playing Adeline in the play
And I'm playing Acis.
Yes, so let's get straight into it.
We should.
What sort of person is going to love this show?
Oh, good question. Honestly, everybody. I think there's stuff in there for everybody. It's really essentially the premise of the show is quite dark and contemplative. So it's a real think piece, but there's also a lot of humor sprinkled over the top of it. So it kind of
there is a lot of humor.
There is a lot of humor. So yeah, it kind of balances out. I think there's something in this show for everybody.
I agree with that. I would say someone that definitely is okay with the topic of death, since the play is centered around it. So if that's a touchy subject, perhaps not for you, but yeah, it should appeal to a wide range of audiences. Good question.
All right. Here we go. What's challenging about bringing the script to life? That's a great question.
That is a great question. Look, there's many things, because I think you come in with an expectation of what your character is and what you want it to be, and then when you meet all the other actors and see what they're bringing to their characters, that's the challenging bit, I guess, working out how your character then responds to everyone else's characters in the course of the play.
Yeah, I agree. There's so many different dynamics and levels between the different characters that trying to build the relationship between characters was in this show a little bit more intense than trying to just build your own character up. And the pace of this show is very very quick and very precise. Yeah. And so to drop the ball on that,
it doesn't work.
It wrecks the flow. So that was maybe one of the hardest things about bringing the script for me anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I like this question. What will the audience be thinking about in the car as they drive home after this show?
Oh, that's a great question.
I can jump in if you want.
I would like you to jump in on this one, yeah.
I think that they'll be thinking about seizing the day, and that's the great thing I love about the theme of this production. It does make you contemplate death and am I doing enough in my life? So I think people will go home thinking, am I doing enough? Could I be doing something more? It'll be a bit uplifting in a way.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Some of the topics in the show can be a little bit confronting, but I think that's important. I think it's good to be confronted with your own stuff from time to time. I think it's good to have that perspective
and challenge.
And that challenge, yeah. So I feel like that'll be kind of what's running through people's minds after the show.
Oh, good questions. Okay, your turn.
Oh, my turn. So many questions. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. What's going to surprise people about this show?
The talent of the actors. Plug. Look, lots of things are going to surprise people about this show. I think it is a topic that has been discussed. There's definitely been movies done on the afterlife. There's been books. I think what's going to surprise them is how it all ties in together. The big twist, I would say.
The twist at the end, yeah. No, I think as well as that, I think the staging, the way that this is being played out, is going to be an interesting thing that audiences are going to find a bit surprising.
And the actors potentially going into Tech Week.
yeah, that too. We actually haven't seen the stage yet, so it's a bit, but that's pretty normal for a production like this, right?
It is.
Jump in on Tech Week and everything gets crazy.
And exciting.
Crazy exciting. Yeah. And then I think as well, just a lot of the take on the afterlife in this show, like the way that everything's being portrayed, I think is going to be a bit of an interesting and fun surprise for the audience.
Yeah, for them to jump into our world.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Ooh. Who in the show is most like their character? That's so tricky.
That's really tricky.
Let's just take 5 minutes to think about that.
Yeah, let's pick another question and come back to that one. Let's do that.
No, we can answer that. You know what? I'd actually be inclined to say you, and I know you probably don't agree with that, But Dean's character Asus definitely has a lot of humour, and he's always got the best intentions. So I think in that way you are a lot like your character.
Interesting.
Even though you're totally not a tradie, and I mean that in the nicest possible way.
Yeah.
Maybe you.
Yeah, okay, alright.
Because I can't pick myself.
Well, yeah. I think the casting was done interestingly with this, because I think a lot of the actors were cast because they do have a lot like their characters in a way, in certain aspects. I mean,
and
like,
now we've offended our entire cast.
I don't know, but then again, maybe not. I think this the talent level of the actors in the show, that they've managed to take these characters and internalize them so much that you can kind of feel bits and pieces of the character in the actors, or bits and pieces of the actor in the character would be more.
Okay,
more
so
like
now let's get away from your diplomatic response and pick someone.
Alright. I don't know. I'm gonna say, so. I think Nat and Randall is an interesting one sometimes. I think mostly because I think Nat revels in playing that kind of character. Without giving anything away about the character, I think he has a lot of fun with his perception of this character.
He does.
I think your character is very obviously very like hot-headed, which I wouldn't say that you are, but she's also very passionate, which I think that you kind of jump into that role very easily.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. All right, let's move on.
Let's move on.
Pick another question.
All right.
We've got a new list of questions here for us. This is always a good one. You know what? I'm going to jump in and ask you this one. If someone was going to make your life into a movie, who would play you? I got asked this question the other day at a taping, and it stumped me because it is something you really have to think about.
It really is. Wow, who would play me?
I watched Notebook last night, so I'm going to say Rachel McAdams, and that's simply because I love her and I think she would do me justice.
Interesting. All right.
And I want to meet Rachel McAdams.
Everybody wants to meet Rachel McAdams. God, I don't know. I'm trying to think of.
I know exactly.
Really? Okay,
yes.
jump in, because I have no idea.
I can't for the life of me remember the actor's name, but he plays Lily's dad in How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, you have mentioned
this
before.
I have mentioned this to you before.
Yeah, okay.
You're both very kooky.
Kooky, cool. Alright, I can go with kooky.
Hashtag kooky.
I would have picked a Gosling kind of actor myself, but fine, I'll go with it. Not really. No, I think you're spot on with that. I think you're spot on. Yeah, cool.
I can see a lot of you in him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Cool.
Again, in a nice way.
In a nice way.
Think.
Yeah.
Alright, your turn.
My turn. Who do you look up to as an actor, director, etc.?
That's tricky as, look, I always think about who I'm inspired by when I go into auditions. Who am I trying to channel? And I love Rachel Berry from Glee. If I'm ever doing a singing audition, I'm always channeling her. Otherwise, if it's a dance audition, I'm channeling Jodie Sawyer from Center Stage.
Interesting.
Acting, there's too many.
Yeah.
There's just too many. I do love Rachel McAdams. I've already mentioned that. I love Jenna Dewan. What about you?
It's tough. I think with when it comes to singing auditions, I don't think there's any particular artist that I sort of channel with those. With an acting one, it really can depend. Like if it's
on the role.
It depends on the role a lot as well. I'm just trying to think what actors just really resonate with me. Actually, you know what? I think it's more. This is getting rambly. This question, but
so fine.
Yeah. It depends on. I guess sometimes it's like the show or the way that a certain movie or show kind of the interactions between the actors and the way that things are played. Like there's always a theme. So for me, How I Met Your Mother is always one that jumps in. So
Friends,
exactly. Yeah.
Do you know what? Once Upon a Time is amazing. What's his name? I am honestly terrible at actors' names. Carlisle. He plays Gold and Rumple in Once Upon a Time. He is amazing. The way he is able to clearly differentiate between the 3 or 5, 10, however many split personalities he has is incredible, because you 100% look at him and go, that's now Gold, that's Rumpelstiltskin. It's very clear. I admire him a lot.
Well, okay, I'll have to check that out. I haven't seen it.
You will.
Yeah.
You will.
Yeah.
Ooh, what's your perfect Sunday afternoon look like? Does someone want to ask you out?
Perfect Sunday afternoon would involve sunshine. It'd need to be sunny.
It's opposite for me.
Really?
I love rain.
I mean, if it's rainy, then I want to be at home with a book.
Blanket.
And a blanket. If it's sunny, I want to be by the water somewhere with like a summer ale and good company.
But we burn easy, so we should be like shying up.
In the shade. So out in the sun.
I love the sun as long as it's nowhere near me.
Exactly. As long as I'm looking out at the sun, you know what I mean? I'm not immersed in it. So somewhere shady when it's sunny and there's water and I have beer. Like for me, that's a Sunday.
True story. Dean and I only have gone to the beach at night time.
Yeah.
Because it's the safest time.
It's the best time to go to the beach.
Yeah, because then we don't look all red and raw and ugh.
It's still technically sunny. The moon doesn't have any light, it just reflects the sunlight, so it's still...
Well, now we're getting scientific. What's my perfect Sunday afternoon look like?
Perfect Sunday afternoon look like?
Depends what mood I'm in, because I like a variety of activities. I think my perfect Sunday afternoon would be a dance class, hanging out with some friends, watching a movie, rain, because I love rain. It's just the best. It's the happiest weather for me. It is. It is. So yeah, something involving those things, I would say. Maybe a book, actually, because I love reading books, and I don't get to do that enough anymore. I could almost answer the next one for you, but we'll get you to read the question out.
Which one am I reading?
This one just here.
Oh, when you have a 5-minute break during rehearsal, what do you spend your time doing? I know how I would answer that question. I know how you're going to answer that question for me. So I will give.
Why don't you do both?
I will do both. I would like to say run and get coffee. That tends to be my thing. Courtney is going to say he gets his phone out.
Actually, I wasn't going to say he gets his phone out because it's glued to his hand. So he just, moves it up more into view instead of...
Yeah, right. Well, to be fair, right now it's on that tripod and I'm getting withdrawals. My hand's getting all sweaty.
Yeah, you do like your coffee. You do like your coffee and you like your Facebook. What do I do? I want you to answer for me. What do I do in a 5-minute break?
You either check those. Courtney doesn't have a script at rehearsals. She has handmade
cue cards. But I do have a script at rehearsals.
Oh, okay, all right. You have a script at rehearsals, but you use these really organized palm cards. Which is awesome and super nerdy, but awesome.
I'm happy to be a nerd. Yeah. I like being organized with my pretty highlighters.
Yeah. So I think in a 5-minute break, you're either going through the palm cards or just like taking a minute to
get in the zone. I like the way you paint me. I pretty much would have said the same thing.
Yeah.
I am. Well, at least in the earlier stages of rehearsal, going over my cue cards. Now we're sort of all just going, woo, show's coming.
Woo, show's coming. 5-minute break.
Yeah. There's so many questions. Thanks, guys.
We do have, just as a shout out, we have a question from Katie, who plays Estelle in the show, and she's asked, what do we think of Estelle?
That's such a naughty question, Katie.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Well, I'm a bit annoyed at Estelle right now because she's not here with us.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Where are you, Katie?
So I think to answer that from like a character point of view, I think that's more interesting.
And a serious point of view.
Yeah. I think so. The Acis-Estelle relationship is a really interesting one. I think because they have a very strong and evolving relationship throughout the course of the show, and I think Acis is. He finds Estelle a bit of an enigma. Like, he's very fascinated. Acis is fascinated by people in general, and that's what keeps him around. But I think he's particularly fascinated by Estelle and just the way that she approaches the situation that she's in. I think he finds that very, very interesting. I think he sees a little bit of himself in her, which is why the bond there is much stronger than it is with the other characters in the reading room.
Well, Adeline and Estelle have a complicated relationship. Like Adeline's relationship with most of the cast, she's annoyed by Estelle at times. Other times, it's almost like the injured little deer, I guess, that she's trying to protect. So I think like the way that Adeline looks at Estelle is to be protective of her, because she understands where she's coming from. She was there once, she arrived in this waiting room and didn't know what was happening, and mixed emotions.
Mixed emotions.
Okay. Who is the funniest person in the cast in real life?
Oh, that's hard. I don't know. Everyone's so hilarious.
I mean, taking Dean out of it, because obviously we're good friends, probably Steve. He has some really funny impressions.
Yeah, actually, that's really, Steve is quite hilarious. Steve is just an incredible, he's a really good voice actor. His impressions are really, really funny. And just his demeanor, actually the way he approaches this character in particular too.
Hilarious.
Is really, really hilarious.
We've had some great bloopers.
We have had some really good bloopers. If you had a magic wand, what show would you do next? Oh man, it's a good one.
Grace. I love
Really?
Grace, yeah. I've always adored Grace, the music, everything about it, the storyline. I'm obsessed with Grace. Of course, there's like a million shows I want to do, but Grace, I think. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. With John Travolta, of course.
Of course. MC in Cabaret has always been a dream role of mine. I've always wanted to play that role just because it's so weird. And I just love that. I love playing like really weird, freaky, geeky characters.
No,
wouldn't pick it, huh? Either that or Dear Evan Hansen, because it's my current favorite show.
What about Book of Mormon? That's hilarious.
Yeah. Actually, Book of Mormon too. Elder Cunningham would be so much fun to play.
So good. Okay, what's the last thing you do before you step out on stage or the curtain goes up?
So I like to get kind of really hyped up before I go onto stage. So it depends on, the last show I did was Heathers, the musical. And right before we'd go on stage, me and Nat, who is in this show as well, we were singing partners and a lot in that. We would,
singing partners.
we would like chest bump, like and it was just really douchey, but it kind of got that funny energy up, and then we would jump out on stage. So I like to do something that just sort of solidifies that, all right, we're ready to go kind of thing.
That's so funny. It's so opposite to me. I do a number of things. It all depends on obviously how you're feeling before, like the curtain goes up, but generally I'll do a couple of really weird like dance stretchy moves where I kick my knee and my leg up just to energize myself. But then I want to take myself to the zone, so I'll normally pump myself up by saying, you've got this, we've got this, and then breathe.
Right.
Take a nice deep breath, make sure I'm really centered, and then
yeah, I usually like for the maybe 10 minutes before curtain, I just kind of sit, and I kind of like that to just be that moment where I kind of get in the zone, get in my character. But then that few seconds before we jump up, that's when it's like psych up time.
Isn't that interesting?
I feel like you've got to psych up right.
But see, I'm so psyched up as is. I need to rein mine in, otherwise I'm gonna go out and be
Yeah. Especially on opening night.
Yeah, opening night, come and see us.
Yeah. Which is the 11th of October, by the way. Plug.
And I think we are out of questions. Thanks guys for sending them in, and keep sending them in. We'd love to hear anything else.
We would. Thank you.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.